So I have with me the top 3 questions that I get all the time from guys off YouTube, and I thought I would answer the top 3. Now, this is not by any means exhaustive, but I'm going to answer 3 questions that you've been asking, and we're going to do it today on a quick hitter. Thanks for coming in. Hey, welcome back to The Hard Truth. This is a quick hitter. Thank you for coming. Guys, I got 3 questions that I'm going to answer today. And the last one, I'm not going to do in great detail because I'm going to do it on a later video about the dangers of bodybuilding and steroids. And I think it's going to be very, very necessary for me to get deep into this subject. From a guy that was a prep coach, a guy that my specialty was the pharmaceutical side of everything. And so I think that one is the one I'm going to really delve into later on in another video. But here we go. The top 3 questions you have asked that I wanted to answer. Number 1 question I get, believe this or not, can I grow legs without squatting? Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say to that. Okay, so the question is, can I grow legs if I don't squat? The answer is yes, you can grow legs. Now, in my opinion, and this is my opinion from a guy that's been in the gym forever, okay, I do not think that you will develop the thickness and the mass density that you see in guys that really squat heavy. I've showed you this picture 100 times, but it's still so true. That is me when I was younger. Now, when I was older and I was back in the gym, now guys, you got to remember, I was out of the gym for 20 years, never walked into a gym. But muscle memory kicked in, and of course, yes, I do admit the drugs were better, but at that point right there in my young days, I was 254 on stage, or excuse me, 252. Now, at 50 years old, I was 254 on stage, and I still carried a density and a mass that you just don't see in guys that don't squat. And so we know that squatting is desperately hard on the body, and it just makes your body release more testosterone and more growth hormone. So you really want to put your body under that stress. You say, Jeff, when did you stop squatting? Well, after I was in the car accident, I was not able to squat very well because I can't get my left arm above my shoulder very well. I just have a problem with it. So I went out and I devised my own squat rack. And that squat rack had a series of handles in it, and I used a safety bar that allowed me to just rest that thing on my traps, and I was able to hold on to those handles and squat. And I would still routinely squat 500 pounds for sets of 10 to 12. And so you still have to squat. Now, guys, let's say you have a problem with your back and you cannot squat. And the best thing you can do is leg press. Well, I will tell you this, you can build legs with leg presses. Look at Dorian Yates. You can do that. But I do think your best bet is to build build your legs with squats. And the reason I say that is I want you to get a density. If you were my client, I would say, dude, the first 6 months you're with me, you're going to deadlift and you're going to squat until you puke. And then you're going to swallow it because we don't waste calories around here. Somebody asked me also in that same thread, squats or hack squats? Well, personally, when I was in the off season, I was squatting, and then about 6 months before a show, I would drop a lot of the squats and go to a lot of heavy and high rep hack squats. And that to me is heading into a show, because back in my young days, I had a great quad sweep. In my older years, after the car accident especially, it was harder for me to get that quad sweep. The older you get, the first thing that goes is your legs, and it sucks. The second question I get, what is more dangerous, Jeff, steroids or stimulants? Well, let me be honest, okay? you can take steroids for an amount of time, get off, and have relatively no side effects. But that doesn't let steroids off the hook, okay? But there's a big but here, okay? There's a big but in the room, all right? So here's your big but. Here it is. But stimulants constantly supercharge your heart. Now, your heart is already under some duress from the steroids. Your respiratory system is already under some duress from the steroids, especially if you're taking Tren. Now you add stimulants in here like clenbuterol or any of the other ones, T3, Slin, DNP, those type of things, or other stimulants, loads of caffeine, tons, guys that dry scooping pre-workouts, and guys that are taking fat loss pills and stuff like that constantly. You're constantly stimulating, supercharging your heart. It's like the idea of revving an engine constantly. What happens? Eventually it gives out. And so we see that, especially with you guys that are trying to stay so lean all the time, taking stimulants constantly to keep that metabolic rate up and just keep your body burning and churning. You will eventually give out faster than if you were just taking steroids alone. Now, that is not saying I am advocating steroids, guys. I did steroids almost my entire life. And just like I revealed in the last video, I now have some issues with my kidneys. I have cysts in my kidneys, and I have an enlarged liver, and some other things going on that I won't get into here. So just know that danger is not whether it's steroids or stimulants. It's steroids and stimulants supercharging your heart, your system, constantly, never letting it rest. So I would ask you, if you are a guy that is really on a lot of drugs and you're on a lot of stimulants and you have a hard time breathing, there's your warning. I used to have that a lot, but I would push through it. There's your warning, guys. Stimulants will kill you. And when you're taking them on top of the steroids, it's even worse. And don't dry scoop that pre-workout. The last one, and here's the last one that I'm not going to answer fully, but I'm going to give this. Jeff, what is the most dangerous steroid? Well, here you go. This is my list. I think number one is Tren. Now, I'm not going to go into all of the reasons right now because I'm going to be doing a video on all of these, okay? Tren, because Tren has a heart component to it as well. And so it's extremely hard on your heart. Now, there is some controversy whether Tren is really hard on your kidneys or not. I personally believe it's hard on your heart and your kidneys. You will see guys that are on a lot of Tren, their kidney values go way down. And so it's extremely hard. Now, the next one for me is Dianabol and Winstrol. It's a tie. Now, remember, orals have to go through your liver twice. They're processed twice, right? And so they're incredibly hard, not just on your liver, but they're incredibly hard on your kidneys. They have to go through your system twice. And so they just create havoc in your system. I know guys that used to have the candy jar cycle. Okay, that's what Arnold and them used to have back in the day. That's why I say Arnold lies. He doesn't even know what he took half the time because they use that candy dish mentality or that candy dish cycle. I knew a bodybuilder named Rick Poston did the same thing. Had all of his oral steroids, Dianabol, Anadrol, all of them in a candy dish next to his bed. I kid you not. In the morning, he'd get up, take a handful, sludge it down, and drink it. And that was his cycle. And so that happened quite a bit, a lot more than you know back in the day. So Dianabol and Winstrol are incredibly hard. When you're on Winstrol, guys, listen to me. When you're on Winstrol, your liver values will change within 3 days, okay? That is not good. That's why Winstrol is only run in very short durations because it really messes with you. The next one is Anadrol. And I have to pair that one with Halo. Both are incredibly, incredibly hard on your system. Again, those are orals, and so they're really hard on your system. Now, The next one is not a steroid, it's clenbuterol. Clenbuterol, again, keeps you supercharged, keeps you incredibly, keeps your heart rate high, just keeps upping you. And then with T3 and T4 people are taking it, it's just messing with their thyroid. It is stims, listen, say it this way, stims supercharge your heart. So you stay away from it as much as you can. If you can diet and get away with it, don't take them or take them in very short durations. The next one is one that I use extensively. I am not advocating for it. I'm just telling you what I did. I used DNP. Now, for me, I never had a problem with DNP. And my clients I used it with, we never had a problem with it except for one guy, he got a rash, and that was it. We took him off of it. But I never went near anything what I would consider a dangerous dosage. These guys that are out there taking an immense amount of DNP, guys, that's just stupid, okay? The next one is insulin. Dude, guys, if you don't know how to take insulin, you can die, okay? Just straight up. Lastly, IGF-1 LR3. Remember, when you take growth hormone, it goes through the liver, it's excreted out as IGF-1 LR3, that's what grows the muscle. When you're putting endogenous IGF-1 LR3 into your body, it still has to go through the liver, and the liver doesn't know what it is. And so it doesn't recognize it so much. And so that's why you see studies of bodybuilders or guys that you don't hear about who are having liver tumors and having to have liver transplants and things like that because they're having those issues. Now, hear me and hear me well. I'm going to put some peptides in on the back end of this dangerous thing that I'm going to cover later because of this reason. I know a guy that was on specific peptides, and I'll get into what they are, and I kept telling him, dude, get off of those things. You are going to have problems with it. And eventually he called me up and he said, Jeff, man, I'm having really a lot of pain in my gut. And I said, push where your liver is. And he pushed on. I said, are you sore? He goes, man, so bad I can't hardly mess with it. And I said, you got to get off that. And I told him, I said, you got to get off of it. And sure enough, come to find out, last year I was sitting in the gym doing leg presses, and guess what happened? He calls me up and he says he's got stage 4 cancer in his liver. It's in his chest cavity, it's in his lungs, it's in his kidneys, and his spine. So, there are your 3 questions. That's your quick hitter for today. I will get into the bottom question in detail in another video. I'm going to go through all of those. I think it'll be really important for you. Thanks again, guys, for coming in. That's your Saturday quick hitter. We'll see you next time.